Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia mogul.
I have an unbelievable guest, Brandon Steiner.
Brandon's second to none.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Project X, where we're going to try to help as many entrepreneurs as we can. I'm going to start with a friend of mine, Swish. You'll see him on LinkedIn.
What's up? Yeah.
Swish, how do I pronounce your last name so I don't mess it up?
Goswami. Goswami. Just Goswami. Let it go.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, you know us ADHD, whatever we have. You know we can't spell well those long, complicated names.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about you this morning, Swish. You know, you're one of the entrepreneurs I respect because you're so young and you've already done so much. But I realized you're still in Canada, and I had my hoop game tonight, and I was hoping you were going to be able to hoop with us.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough, you know, like the whole situation with obtaining a visa and then even keeping it, and then even when you're off, coming on a travel visa, it's just become harder than ever. So
how are you
at
doing
the same
otherwise?
time, though, I'm doing well, man. I'm here in Canada. It's still like, you know, a lot of people get sent back home to like foreign countries. I'm here in Canada, so I can't really complain too much. But just doing work, and I'm in Toronto. It's getting really, really cold. I don't know about New York, but getting my winter gear all ready and all set up.
Oh, it's cold. You know what amazes me about you is, you know, you're young. I think 20 now, right?
20, yeah, I just turned 20.
And you've already sold a company. You're in the middle of starting a couple new ones. I mean, I just got, you know, for all the entrepreneurs out there, I mean, is entrepreneurism something that young, you know, people that are 18, 19, is that something that people that young can get into and succeed? And how'd you do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the thing about me, though, is I only, like, really knew about the word entrepreneur when I was, like, 17. So, like, my experience is I was born in Singapore. I stayed until I was 9 years old. Then I went to Calgary, Alberta. And all I was trying to do was come up with projects that acted as solutions to problems that I was facing every day or problems that my friends were facing. So I never really saw myself as an entrepreneur until like the whole buzzword came. I think the first time I actually heard that word used like more than once in like 30 minutes was by Gary Vee when I watched a video of him when I was 17. And I was like, well, this guy seems to think that we're all entrepreneurs. Maybe I am. And the way I really did it is just, like find a problem. The problems that I normally go after are ones that I face myself, or at least I have proximity to. Secondly, find a really good team to be able to bring around you. Like, I think I've learned this a lot from you in the last couple of months, is just how important having an incredible team is, and being able to surround yourself with players and people that motivate you to continuously think at a higher level and continuously move. And then thirdly, once you have that team, once you have the idea, I mean, here's the hardest part. You just got to go and do it. You know, you have to put yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, it doesn't mean just going and, you know, making a freaking LinkedIn status or going on Instagram Live once, you know. It's really about every opportunity you can take to further your business, to be able to put it in front of somebody that could potentially help you. You got to take every single chance, even if it means that you're not going to convert, even if it means you're spending way too much money sometimes going out to networking events and trying to meet people. At the end of the day, if you believe in your idea and if you believe in the problem you're trying to solve, you need to put basically every piece of energy you have towards trying to make that a reality.
And that's pretty much what you did. I mean, at the age of, at 17, were you traveling all over the place? Yeah. Were you, take us through it. I mean, how'd you get the financing for like the business that you kind of created and sold, and how'd that go about? How'd that work?
Yeah, so I'll give you like a really quick synopsis on like just the life of Swish per se. I hate saying that because I'm only 20 and like I haven't really seen too much of life yet.
But you've done a TED Talk. You've been at some major conferences around the world. I consider you a LinkedIn specialist, really smart when it comes to LinkedIn. I mean, you've helped me. I mean, it's just unbelievable some of the things you've shown me how to be more powerful and effective on LinkedIn. I mean, I don't look at you as a 20-year-old. I mean, I think that age thing is all bullshit anyway. I mean, it's really about how deep and how experienced and how knowledgeable you are when problems come up, and how good are you in solving them.
Yeah. So, I mean, my backstory, literally when I was 8, I was in Singapore, and I built a hovercraft business with my father. My father is an engineer by trade. He's now an oil and gas director. but he wanted basically for me to go into engineering, or at least he wanted me to try it out and see if I liked it. And so we came together and we took a Havoc heli, which is like remote-controlled rechargeable helicopter. We broke the parts out and we kept the rotor and the motor and just built a new base for it. And we created a hovercraft within 3 months.
Love that.
I sold that hovercraft for $200. I know, dude, it's scrappy, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, like from that age, 8 years old, when I moved to Canada, I don't tell a lot of people this, but from age 9 to about 13, I did literally nothing. I wasted those years, in my opinion, because all I was doing was writing down my ideas, planning it, sometimes imagining how great it would be to be able to act upon it, but I never acted upon it. Like, it was still, like, I still have all these papers in Calgary where I just spent ages writing and writing and writing, but not acting upon any of the ideas I was trying to go and put into action. When I was 13, I joined a program called Junior Achievement, which is, if you're a Canadian entrepreneur, look into that. If you're a high school or university student, Junior Achievement is a fantastic program. I got my start in entrepreneurship pretty much through that. Became the CEO for a custom lapel pins company. We won Alberta's Company of the Year. We were nominated for Canada's Company of the Year. I was the youngest person in the batch, and so immediately, once I started doing a lot of people's eyes started turning on to me. I really like that because that is.
Was there parental supervision there, or was it like a big group of like 100 kids or 200 kids, or was it? You had
So
all
there's
of it?
like individual chapters. There's individual chapters in each province. In my province, there's about 70 kids, and there was only parental supervision for me because I was 4 years younger than everyone else. So, I mean, I guess my mom had to come in sometimes for some of the presentations, especially some of the off-site events and activities.
So you weren't considered a normal kid. I mean, let's be honest. You weren't considered a normal kid. I mean, welcome to the club. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of issues as a kid. I mean, I can't even imagine what people are thinking, what the hell my story was. But were you considered a weird kid?
I mean, I think I was normal in the sense of, like, I think I was normal when it came to, like, my aspirations and my commitment and my drive. I just feel like I wasn't normal in the sense that I actually didn't see age as a barrier when I was younger, and I just decided to live my career out when I was 13.
Hold on a second. At
until
13 years old, kids are playing PlayStations in their room, or they may be going out playing Little League.
I was doing that too, you know. I was doing that too.
How often were you doing that? You were sitting there writing down all your ideas on a piece of paper. You sounded like Jay-Z, who never, his mother said he couldn't get him out of the house. He just kept writing lyrics all day.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm telling you, I was a kid in the sense that I played Warhammer, I played StarCraft, I played PlayStation, I went out and played cricket and basketball, but at the same time, I just didn't waste that much time on YouTube. I just didn't waste that much time, you know, with my family at like dumb events that a lot of these us kids have to get roped into, in my opinion. Sorry, Mom. But at the same time, like, you know, when that program really went through and when I got that national recognition, here's the thing I did, which a lot of people don't do, is I didn't settle down. You know, I didn't think, oh, like, all right, I have this idea, like a lot of people have gotten some press, a lot of people are around me now. I ran with that momentum. I kept going. I went deeper into what I wanted to do. And at that age, I also, by the way, still didn't know if I wanted to be an entrepreneur or, like, be a business operator. You know, I still wanted to be a lawyer. I went through high school thinking I wanted to be a lawyer. And I built 2 nonprofits in high school. One was called the World Youth Fund. The other one was called the Next Boundary. Both of them were able to get partnered with international organizations, but it still did not give me an indication of whether I could ever make this a career. You know, it was only until I was in first-year university, and this kind of leads to the wearable startup that I licensed out and was able to sell. You know, I got hit up by a basketball player called Trevor Booker, and he DM'd me. You know, Trevor DM'd me on Instagram.
An NBA player DM'd you out of nowhere like that?
Out of nowhere. I commented. So I met Gary Vaynerchuk about 2 months before he DM'd me. And after I met Gary, I went about the process just commenting a lot on his posts and stuff. And he posted this one status on Instagram, or not status, this picture on Instagram being like, describe yourself in one sentence. So I did it. And Trevor apparently saw that with his business partner, and they reached out to me, you know?
Do you remember what that sentence was? Whoa. What was the sentence? Come on, brother. It's all the devil's in the detail.
Mate, it's a cocky sentence, and I don't mean it.
We can handle it. You're on Project X. It's all about arrogance and cockiness to some degree, with a little humility.
I said I'm the best young entrepreneur you've ever met. And I don't mean it. I absolutely don't mean it. He liked it, though. Gary did like it, a lot of people from the Vayner Nation liked it, which is good. I think that's how Trevor saw it. But I mean, at the same time, like, I tell people all the time this, which is at the end of the day, I didn't get lucky there. I positioned myself to be lucky. The difference,
Yeah,
I took the time to be able to build a great profile, to be able to comment on influencers' pages, to be able to go and set up relationships, and that's only how you're able to get past that foundation and move on to the next brick.
How
So
powerful
when I
is
got hit
Vayner?
up-
How
yeah.
powerful is VaynerMedia though?
I mean, I don't know how powerful VaynerMedia is. I mean, I know all the people there are A players. They're fantastic. They're very, very talented. But at the same time, I think Gary and the personal brand he's built is extremely powerful.
Yeah,
and it's only
certainly.
getting more powerful every day. Like the things that he's been doing, like the recent shoe launch. You have like New York taxis now, like yellow cabs that have his podcast advertised on the top. Like I'm like, what the hell? Like this guy's become a cultural icon basically. And it's in a span of about 2 to 3 years. So I think his personal brand is very, very powerful.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
That's cool.
after I went about that process, like Trevor hit me up. He was the one who funded that venture that I built out. And it was about 9 months actually that we spent in total from developing the software, selling it, licensing it out. I mean, that entire process was absolute hell. I don't remember going to school any of those months. I don't think I even attended a class in my second semester. And I still did okay. I still did well. I did well on my exams and stuff. But at the same time, like I put every single part of my life into that business. And when I moved to New York, I came with the intention of not stopping. But again, as my life keeps on going, it's about taking the momentum you get and riding with it.
Love it, love it. Swish, can you hold on 1 second? We're going to go to our first guest. We're going to do a series of calls. I know there's a bunch of people that have been trying to get through the last few weeks. So we got some different entrepreneurs coming through, and then we'll come back to your story. Trevor Booker DMing you, brother. I love that, man. That's cool. Love that. Hold on 1 second, Swish. We're going to patch in our first caller. Hey, by the way, you got to love. Who did this artwork, Ben? Who did this? I mean, how cool is our set? It's unbelievable. Come on, the Moral Kings. I mean, they went a little graffiti like on me. I'm just trying to be, to add some attitude to this room. And they did a great job. I want to thank the Moral Kings for coming in. They watched the show and for coming in and painting up a storm like they always do. These are big time guys. This is much bigger than me. But if you're in New York, you know who they are. But I think they're actually all over the country now. They get brought into all kinds of graffiti and stuff. Moral Kings, thank you, buddy. Love you guys. Thanks for coming in and taking an interest in Project X. You guys are entrepreneurs in yourself. I got to get them on the show. No question. Now, if you have something, first of all, like and share. If you have a question or you have any entrepreneurial idea or someone that does, Facebook message in your phone number. We'll call you or we'll try to get you called in and we'll go over your idea. Hopefully there's some investors watching and private equity people or just serial entrepreneurs. We'll make the connection. We don't want anything other than try to help you with your idea and give you some guidance. We've had a onslaught of people that have been phoning in and emailing in their ideas, and we're hopefully going to get most of you on the show as time goes on. Tomorrow, by the way, Porzingis, we're going one-on-one. Christoph Porzingis, me and him are going one-on-one playing ping pong. He says he's got a ping pong game. Well, let's see. I don't know. He could be difficult. Those arms are long. He's 7'2". I don't know how I'm going to beat him. But anyway, we're going one-on-one tomorrow. And also, if you're a Yankee fan, Marlin fan, one of the greats, Don Mattingly, will be joining us live in the house tomorrow night. I think at 7. We're going to go live, do a Q&A with him. If you got any questions for Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball, I'm looking forward to catching up with him. Haven't seen him for a while. Christoph Porzingis, though, he's been on fire. Can't wait to see him. So if you have questions, we're also going to be giving away some Christoph Porzingis stuff. So that's going to be cool. And then we got some other shows lined up as we keep going along. Check the Facebook for different notifications for different interviews and shows and stuff we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks. And I love going in the warehouse. And there'll be a big day coming up soon where we just give away a ton of stuff all day. If you are looking for a special gift or a Christmas gift, Hanukkah gift, we're going to do a whole give back day coming up towards Thanksgiving. All right, Jeff Engel. Now, Jeff, are you there?
I am, Brandon. How are you?
How are you? Now, I think I saw you on LinkedIn. It caught my attention because, we're a big snack. Steiner Sports, we believe in snacks. God help me. Can't stop eating snacks all day. And it caught my attention that you guys do, like, healthy snacks. And, we try to do snacks at Steiner. But anyway, Jeff, I always say, we haven't met, but what's your story? And tell me a little bit about your company and why your company exists and how long you've been in business.
Yeah, well, Thanks for let us catch your attention.
And Swish is on the phone too, by the way. Entrepreneur
Great.
guru, yeah. And just so you know.
Fantastic.
So, I'm ready for you.
I came on board about 2 years ago to the company, and so we and originally the company came back, and the gentleman who started the company had produced 30 different designs, which was based on 70 different patents, and they're all customizable. And I originally came from the consumer engagement side around retailers and how do you get one more item into the shopping cart.
Yep.
And it was always about the path to purchase. And then I was approached by this company to help get them to the next level. And I realized that we'd always been worried about how to get to the transaction. And we weren't quite focusing on what happens when the consumer starts to party, what about their path to consumption. Once they've left the point of purchase or where they buy it from, how do they consume? And I started looking at the data, and during the day at convenience stores, 50% of the people are consuming in their car, and at night that number goes up. And I started looking about all the different things of how quick serve restaurants and convenience stores were working on this, but I realized that no one was focused on this niche. And so when I kind of looked at this, that's what I came on board. I've been on board for about 2 years.
And how do you make money? How do you make money?
by selling packaging. So we sell to primarily, our focus is on convenience stores and quick serve restaurants or stadiums, anywhere where portability is an issue. And early on we did so we had some great ideas, but we needed to test it. So we did some work with Yankee Stadium, and then we've done some work some other places at Dodger Stadium, and we found out that, well, I thought it was a good idea, but I wanted to test. We found out that anywhere from 14 to 31% of the people that were using the packaging were buying an extra food or beverage item.
So give me an example. First of all, what's your website for right out of the gate?
Yeah, it is snacktops.com. So
okay.
SnackTops.com.
So take me. I'm trying to get my arms wrapped around this idea though. So I'm at Yankee Stadium. I go up to the concession stand, right? Am I getting your product at the concession stand?
Yes.
And is your product enables me to go get a bunch of stuff because it can hold all this stuff, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it allows you, instead of carrying a drink in one hand and your food.
Hold on. Ben's gonna explain it. But you gotta bring in. Maryland, the Maryland connection here of somebody who's got maybe an education here.
Yeah, so you have a soda and then there's like a little bowl basically on top, and they put chicken fingers.
Oh, so this way you can carry more.
Carry both one.
So your snack tops, you put something on top of the soft drink, so you now can carry the hot dog, chicken fingers, fries, and all the other shit that's gonna kill you, right? Am I reading you right?
Correct. Plus the healthy stuff. The other.
So Swish, this is perfect for you, Swish. You chicken finger. Nobody eats more chicken fingers than Swish. This is like made for you, Swish.
Yeah.
I know you're like going, I love this product. I'm carrying around this with me. I can hear you from here.
I need this. How do I order this in Toronto?
So the other piece of this is we're not just on top of fountain drinks. We also have solutions that go on top of hot drinks, such as coffee, and we also fit on top of cans and bottles. So
that's cool.
We fit on top of 25-ounce Bud cans.
So I'm following you now. I'm on your website. I'm following you. I'm with you now, Jeff. I'm with you.
Gotcha.
So what's the hiccup?
This technology?
I'm sorry?
Have you patented this technology, or is this something that, what's going to stop, competitors from replicating something like this?
Yes, we have patented. There's probably too many patents. There's over 70 different patents on the solutions, and there's primary patents on connecting food items or food containers on top of drink lids. But if you look at our basic structure, is we're about putting food on top, and we can either do it with one-piece systems, like one-piece lids, or you can do it on top of a two-piece system, which is the one that you're looking at. I think that you referenced is a lid with a food container snapped on top, and we also have the ability to do it with food that is served right there in front of you, or we can do a pre-sale line. An example would be one of our items is called the snack topper, which is a pre-sealed lid that has either a healthy snack or a candy sealed on top. Instead of using you go to a fountain drink, instead of you fill up your soda, instead of putting a regular lid on, you put the snack topper on top. You peel off the top, and then you either have your trail mix, your spicy Cajun mix, or your mini sour.
Love it. What's stopping you now? You're in business 2 years. Sounds like you've had some success. What are your sales this year so far? And tell me your biggest obstacle.
Yeah, so we're just starting our sales. We spent quite a bit of time getting it right. And so now we are just started going to, we've been pushing QSRs for the last 9 months. We're getting to launch. We're launching a customer in Q1. Actually, they're starting their test in Q4 in about 4 weeks. Then they'll roll into Q1 if all goes well. Our biggest barrier to entry right now is because we're packaging. Everyone thinks that we're a cost savings or a cost driver. And so thinking, well, how do it's something it's a really small problem, and I'm only spending 2 to 3 cents on a lid. But the real opportunity is that you get to spend, is you're able to upsell for $1 or $2 on the cash register. So if you put a small item of chicken tenders or granola mix or a protein mix on top, and you figure out how to make the ring for $1 or $2, you just been able to upsell. And I mean, convenience stores have the problem of the average ring or average number of items is less than 3 in a convenience store. So how do you get it so the person can walk out the door with more? And you allow them to be able to carry more in their hands.
I love this idea. I mean, it makes sense to me, particularly at the ballparks. But once you're carrying a soda, it is kind of hard to go carry a whole bunch of stuff. Well, it'd be nice if you're just carrying let's say the soft drink, and then you had the snack on top, or if you had your beer and you had some pretzels or some stuff, which I'm sure is probably more the main thing what you're thinking. But it's probably gonna be the number one seller will be a top for a beer. So you can put some snack, because people like to have a snack with their cocktail or beer. Are you in any stadiums right now, or besides you said you sampled the Yankee Stadium, any other stadiums you're in?
Yeah, so at Yankee Stadium we did some tests. Dodger Stadium we did some tests. We're actually at Pinnacle Arena, which hosts like the Nebraska's men and women's basketball team. We're in some family entertainment centers, which are like Boomers.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
We're on the cusp of getting out there in the markets, and we spent a lot of time figuring out how to get it right. So at Yankee Stadium, we figured how to make the package work better. At Dodger Stadium, we learned how to make sure the path to purchase, how the POP, how the consumer engagement was along to prior to buying. We refined that process. So we've now become and how customers are using us now is really as trusted advisors to talk about how do we change from talking about packaging, but talking about how do you increase the ring $1 or $2 for a consumer and make it so it is they come back to you to that location or to that franchise or to that QSR instead of going to the competitors.
Are you working with Mark? You're working with Legends? You're working with Canteen? I mean, where are you now with the big boys as far as, maybe one of them taking a chance and giving you some distribution and some exposure, not even done some testing? Where are you on that?
Haven't spent too much time with them.
No sense in spending time with them since they control most of the stadiums in the country. You don't want to hang out with them. But who are you hanging out with? I'm being sarcastic, but
no.
You are going to need a rabbi there out of one of those big boys, to put you in a play, don't you think?
I do, and that's where we need just like anything. The individual account levels are great, but where we really need the help is talking to kind of the CMOs or the chief development officers at these locations and helping them understand how we are changing food. Because if you just treat us as a food container, put it on top, then we're just attached to we're a cost driver.
Who did you deal with at the Yankees? Who did you deal with at the Yankees? Legends or
Legends. So it was Chris Buffa. To give you a little background, Pepsi helped introduce us into there, and we had great success there. But the problem is, at the time, we did not offer a compostable solution. We were just a recyclable solution, and the regulations for working with at Legends and the Yankee Stadium is it needs to be compostable. So we haven't tackled that solution yet. If the volume's big enough, we could do it. The deals are big enough, but we just haven't gotten there yet.
So
I mean, would I take that for you to do it? Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think to me it's like I think one thing will lead to another, and to me it seems like what's the best snack scenario? What's the best scenario that can happen for you? Which would be, is it a McDonald's? Is it a Subway? Can you put a Subway sandwich on there, or is it McDonald's when you buy chicken fingers and soft drink, you automatically get the chicken fingers on top? What's the best scenario for you? Or are you better off being in football, baseball, and athletic stadiums and college stadiums? That seems like a likely thing, especially the collegiate stadiums where there aren't a lot of refreshment stands in a lot of the football stadiums. So if you do go once, you want to be able to carry it all. But I think it's really important. One of the things I run into with a lot of entrepreneurs is focus. That F word, focus. And it's like, what the focus are you talking about? Like, because at the end, it really is about the one thing. And a lot of times you get spread out all over the place. And it's like, you drop Yankee Stadium. That's a major place to get in. Good for you. A lot of people trying to get into that stadium on any kind of level. And you went in there and sampled, and you got somebody's attention, which is a really good get. And I would say stay there, man. Go keep working that out with them, because it's an entry point that could really lead to a lot of things. I can attest to it. Trust me. I think the Yankees would admit to it that a lot of things start and happen because of the Yankees. They're not just another brand. They are the brand. You're in the stadium. You're with the biggest stadium and team on the planet, I think, at least certainly in the top few. So it's like you're in Yankee Stadium. Go back and go figure out what it's going to go take to move away from sampling and to move to success. Get up and go work that and go figure that out, because if you can find success in Yankee Stadium, everybody will follow. I think it's a really important thing. Like, you may not be far away as you think. And certainly I'd like to see you try an indoor venue and try to figure out what the best scenario there is. Where are you located?
I'm Southern California, San Diego.
Okay. So, that's a great get. In fact, you're working with Pepsi. I'd go back to Pepsi. That's another big name you just happen to drop. But I'd go back to Pepsi and see how else you can help them solve a problem. If you listen to Swish prior to when we were talking, one of the things I loved about Swish is, like, basically Swish said, I'm not really an entrepreneur. I'm a problem solver. And you got to put your problem solver hat on. I'm a problem solver. People go up. They want to buy some stuff. They want to get food and beverages. It's really hard to go get 4 beers and food, and I've got a solution to that. You can carry the 4 beverages, and you can put food on the top. So you're at a football game. You're all the way in the bottom of a bowl. You got to walk up 40 rows to go get to the concessions. You need to make that count, and I've got a solution for that. And at the end of the day, 80% of most of these stadiums don't have all the waiter services and all these beautiful, cushy little things. You're really serving the mid-level common person, and who doesn't want to wait on a long line more than once to go get the food they need. So that's my advice there. Are you good on your finances as far as capitalization on this, or do you need money?
Well, of course, we're a startup. We always need money.
Not necessarily, but right now, are you cash flow positive, or are you looking for investors?
We're not cash flow positive yet at this time. I think the other piece that is that's been helpful to help me understand that we're onto something is, as I talk to Coca-Cola, I've also caught their attention, and so early on you asked me, or a couple minutes ago you asked me a question about who is it. If I can get the attention of the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, or the Chief Development Officer of someone like Wendy's, which would be like a Kurt Kane as the CMO, or the Abigail Pringle, who's the Chief Development Officer, which I don't know either of them, but those would be 2 examples in the QSR space. Because if I can get a couple of QSRs, they give me the volume of production that I can now become sustainable and profitable. And where I originally would have liked to get the Yankees and Dodgers and others, is the volume just not enough to become self-sustaining. Where if you get 2 or 3 QSRs, then you're producing enough cash.
But I hear you on that. But the exposure on the Yankees could lead you to that easily.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because Nathan's is in Yankee Stadium, and once you're in Yankee Stadium, you'd go to, let's say, Nathan's and say, look what we're doing. Look what we're doing here. You guys should do that in all of your Nathans. I mean, that kind of thinking. If you're Dodgers, I'm sure they have. And I think that's sometimes one thing will lead you to the other. Your first thing isn't always your best thing, but it could be the most strongest and the foundation for something to pop. But I always like the idea for anybody out there that's an entrepreneur is what is the best possible thing that can happen? That's got to be on one piece of paper, as Gary Vee would say. It's got to be on your notes on your phone, whatever it is. What's the best possible thing that can happen, and who is that person, company that can make that happen? And on the other piece of paper needs to be what's stopping you from getting there. And I keep saying, it's again, what the focus are you talking about? Because it should be Brandon. I need to get to Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, Nathan's. I want to dig in my heels into Yankee Stadium and maybe one or two other venues. And that's all I'm going to focus on the next 6 months until I land 2 substantial, prestigious accounts where people are using my product. They're effective. It's efficient. It's driving sales. It makes sense to use. And everyone will follow. Everyone will follow. Like, I couldn't get somebody on the phone at Major League Baseball. I couldn't get a team on the phone till I signed up with the Yankees, and everybody wanted to do something with me. That's the power of the Yankees. So, and they're powerful because I think people respect that brand. They're leaders in so many of the things they do. They have a tendency of being the first to do things. So when you go land the Yankees, and certainly the Dodgers are certainly credible as well, but when you do something like that, maybe it's not as scalable as you'd like, but people will follow that. People will follow you because you can walk into a meeting and say, look, I'm doing this at the Yankees. You should do it here. And you'll get a meeting like that. Because I attest to it. That's what happened for me. Nobody was taking my call until I announced my Yankee Steiner deal. And then, bam, all of a sudden, everybody wanted to know what was going on with our partnerships. So I really, I appreciate the call. Keep in touch. Send me some samples so I have them here on the set. So I get an idea. Send me a couple samples so I can, showcase that because we have different entrepreneurs that come in here all the time. And if you are interested in investors, definitely post it on my Facebook so people can see it and how to get a hold of you. And for everybody out there, that's interested in this kind of product. If this product has a lot of potential. I'm going to give you a tap on the owl's head there. Smart idea, needed, necessary. Hey, Scott, think of yourself as a problem solver. All right, think you're somebody who maybe has a solution to solve problems. Swish, I'll give you the final word on this, my man. Something you want to say?
Yeah. I just think the general thing is I agree with what Brandon said. I think you have incredible momentum. Getting into the Yankees is incredible. It's something that you should be really, really proud about. But one thing I would say, just constantly concentrate on adapting the product. One idea I had, and this is just by thinking about it, I bet you probably thought about this product way more than I have. But I was thinking it could be really cool to be able to even open up a bit of the design of that tech that is on a bottle or on whatever. You could open that up a bit to advertisements as well, right? Find people who are in a local area and tell them that they're going to sponsor some of your manufacturing and production, and in exchange you're going to put their logo on that piece of product. It could be really, really simple, and it could also integrate really well with the design, I feel.
It's brilliant because at the end, that somebody's going to offset the cost. If you're worrying about that, now you walk into a situation where all you're doing is have a potential upsell. And, Pepsi's the perfect one. You're with the perfect one to do it. So you go into an account that Pepsi's the main soft drink in that stadium, and in that bowl, Pepsi's printed all over it. It's a no-brainer. For pennies. They're paying pennies for those impressions anyway. That's a no-brainer, especially if they're taking a sponsorship. It's just an activation play. To remind people, the greatest soft drink on the planet, the official soft drink of the Yankees is Pepsi. It's an easy spend for them. Even if they don't pay for the whole thing, if they pay for just a percentage of it. That's a great point, Swish. Great point. All right, we're moving on. Scott, thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to the next thing. Scott, keep in touch.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, Ben, what do we got? We got another call? All right, Swish, we'll talk for a minute. We're going to do another call. Swish, that was a good idea, though. We may have lost Swish.
We may have lost him. Let's get him back online. But in the meantime, let's take a question. William Parker asked, how do you explain the most core business competencies to a little kid, to a toddler?
Simply. and I mean this with all sincerity, how do you explain the core competencies of business to a kid? I never forget it. We were going to Baltimore. Now, my son and I, we've gone to every stadium in the country. And that was our thing. We started when he was 9. So we're in Baltimore. We had taken the Amtrak down, which next to my favorite Yankee, Bobby Mercer, by the way. But anyway, we get there, and I've only asked Derek Jeter for seats one time to a game. So we're in Baltimore. Derek Jeter leaves the seats. I go up to the gate, and they don't have the seats. So the guy calls down. He comes, gives me the seats, and I look at them, and they're in the bleachers. And I've never sat in the bleachers, as poor as I am, whatever, never sat, all the way out in dead outfield. And the guy looks at me, I said, there's no way these are the seats. It must be a mistake. He goes, look, these seats came down late. In a nice way, saying that, they forgot to submit them. Because, Derek has always come through. The guy is a champion with anything I've ever asked. So I don't want to paint that picture by any stretch. But on this particular day, it was the middle of, a homestand. It wasn't like I typically would ask him. So anyway, we're sitting in the outfield, and my son says to me, because we had never sat out that far, we always sat in good seats. And he says, Dad, how do you make money? And I took about an hour out in the outfield. Thank God it was a really high-scoring game. And I started explaining to him how many calls you make in an hour and all different ways to make money. But in a long story short, the most important thing to a young kid is explaining the value of $1. How $1 gets made, 100 pennies, and how $1 could turn into $1.05, or very quickly can be turned into 80 cents or 90 cents. And not to get too big picture thinking about it, but just explaining some of the simplicities of, hey, how much does it cost when we go to the supermarket? And should we buy the thing on sale, or should we buy the thing that's normal price? Should we hustle and go to the next market that's selling the same quart of milk for a dime cheaper, or should we buy it here? Whether you can afford it or not is not the point, but making sure that your child understands the value of $1 and how money can be wasted or spent or saved on the simplest level at the earliest age, I think is critical. And certainly, I was managing my checkbook at the age of 9 for my family and paying the bills. And I don't think it's a bad thing when you're sitting there paying your bills to sit with your kid and go over a couple of those bills so they understand these lights that are on don't happen magically. That's how you bring your kid into the fold, I think, because there is a lot to learn. And I've run into some kids that get out of college that can't write out a check, don't really understand how to borrow a few dollars or fill out a loan application. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next call. That was a good question. We'll take some more of your questions in a minute. We have Swish with us, young entrepreneur who, by the way, is a LinkedIn strategist, amongst other things. If you want to learn about LinkedIn, he's also a great speaker. You can look him up on LinkedIn. He responds to everything. Sheens? Shenner. All right, Shenner. You're on the phone? Shenner? Is Shenner there? We had him. Shenner's got a rugby company. I'd be interested in that. American Sevens Rugby.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Brandon, it's an honor to be with you.
Well, thanks for joining us, man. I've been following you a little bit. I know you've LinkedIn messaged me a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, thank you.
And, I played rugby once for 2 days. And on the second day, it was a little rainy out that day, and there was a lot more, levels of mud on me. And, I always thought I was a pretty tough kid, but that is one tough sport. Anybody who plays rugby, they get all my respect in it. That's a tough sport. That's a crazy sport. But anyway, tell me a little bit about your idea.
Well, you're right. We all played backyard football. We all played in the parks. We all played in the school lots, and in a lot of ways, that's the reason behind the sport, American Sevens football. It's football without helmets, football without pads.
No, I think we all get what rugby is. What's your idea, though? We understand what rugby is. We get it.
We're actually now expanding our sport, which is 7-on-7, no pads, no helmet football. It's not rugby. This is a new sport. It's American Sevens football. It's our trademarked name.
So you want to go back and play football without equipment, right?
In essence, although it's 7-on-7, not 11-on-11, and there's other rule changes. There's no kicking. We have a 3-on-1 special teams. A lot of safety factors, and we've also went on to go into the science of that safety along with the New Jersey Institute of Technology and a company called Athlete Intelligence with their Vector mouth guard. And we're getting the science behind the G-force, the hits, the acceleration our guys are experiencing. And from what we've seen in the 2 years of the study so far, and we're waiting for the final results, but so far it's very promising, and it looks like all of our athletes are getting a higher level of safety in their position.
Well, first of all, where's your website? If people want to look up this league and this thing you've set up, is there somewhere where people can go look this up and get a feel for what we're talking about here?
Sure, it's the letter A like Apple, 7, so A7FL.com, and that stands for American Sevens Football League.
Now, Swish, I mean, is this a sport you'd be playing, Swish? I doubt it.
Nah, I mean, I personally don't think my mom would allow me to, but I mean, at the same time, I'm intrigued. I love this new idea. Like, how did you think of the idea?
Awesome, and I take it you'd be watching it. The idea my partner Ryan DePaul formulated around, just like we spoke about, backyard football. But he organized this sport in New Jersey, out of our hometown, Sayreville, New Jersey, and that was over 10 years ago. It wasn't until 2014 that I saw this opportunity as a lifelong friend with Ryan, and I approached him about actually taking this concept to a whole new level, taking it nationally, and ultimately our goal is to go internationally. Of course, we'll do it in phases and with the right investments along the way.
How many people currently? I mean, I remember playing 7-on-7 as a kid in Brooklyn without equipment. So I actually get this because I thought it was a lot safer without the equipment than it was with the equipment. Is that your thinking? Is that this game's probably safer without the equipment? And as you're playing this game, have you found less injuries?
Well, that's the exact testimony that our athletes have given over that time period. And not only that, it is a fact of research and science, a term called risk homeostasis, which basically means when you're going into a collision, you're going to use the most protected part of your body, and that's in helmet football, every single play, as my partner Ryan says, and he's played both ways. He's played helmet football and got concussions and had to stop playing. He's also played A7FL football for many years, so he's the best qualified to understand this. He understands and states
how many people right now are playing?
Right now, there's 16 teams in the Northeast: Baltimore, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. We've had a team in New York. We're looking to expand within that region and along the East Coast in our first expansion.
Wow. So you're rolling along here now. How do you make money here? How do you see making money?
It's not reinventing the wheel, but in one way it is. The fact of digital distribution and broadcasting and monetization. Digital is now the future of entertainment. Everybody's moving to digital. It's the new gold rush. And at the same time, cord cutting and so forth, TV is losing market share. Traditionally, networks and channels.
Are you making any money right now, though? Have you been able?
Yeah, we actually are. So the other side of it is sponsorships, and they're vital to us. They really help us for the most part to break even.
So are you at a break even right now?
Yes.
What's the one break that you need right now? The one thing you need now to take your idea where you are and get it really going where you want it to be?
Well, we're about to be in front of some prominent angel investors. I think that's really what it's going to take in the next few months. It might happen sooner, and I think with your help and your audience, it possibly could.
How much money are you looking for?
Right now, we're raising $1.5 million at a valuation of $15 million. So we're looking to give about 10%.
Okay. So your valuation.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you get to that?
We get to that based on the brand and the audience that we've already built. Over 13 million views on our own channel of our viral video, our biggest hits. That's also been shared on numerous other media platforms, including most recently Cheddar, who we were able to visit with them at the New York Stock Exchange for an amazing interview. So these media opportunities that we get, all organic, it's all been on our amazing traction we've had since day one, have a huge value to them in the audience and brand.
Where would you say your biggest success is right now as far as your biggest exposure is right there in New Jersey?
Well, our championship team is from New Jersey, the Union City Chiefs. So, yeah, I think New Jersey is our stronghold
and what
right
age?
now.
What age?
The age is 18 plus.
Oh,
so
it's an
typically
adult.
18
It's an adult league almost,
yeah.
pretty much, right?
Yeah, has to be 18, yeah.
Okay. Swish, you like this idea?
I like it. It's intriguing. I mean, I feel like the valuation to me seemed a bit too high just because, like, you have a great brand and it seems like you've had good success about reaching people, but how many of those people have actually expressed an interest in converting? Like, out of the audience that you've been able to get, like, how many of them have been very, very, like, hey, I'm, like, super excited to bring the sport to my city or my town or want to work with
Oh, my God. Yeah, when you look at just one of our postings, you're going to see that commentary. It's all there. The proof is in the pudding, and all of those details are there for sure.
That's cool.
Not only from the players are the most abundant. This is a sport for the blue collar, okay? Actually, leaving our Cheddar interview after coming off the stock exchange, who comes up to us but the security guard runs up to us and tells us, hey, I played both ways. You guys are right. I'm going to watch this. So not only the execs on Wall Street will watch, but really this is an alternative to NFL. Although we play in the spring, we don't play in the fall. It's another great benefit.
And it is, and obviously you need coaches. You need the right field. Are you playing on a normal field or high school field, a smaller field? How does that work?
We play on a normal field except in the width. The length is the same. The width is slightly shorter. We don't use the goalposts because we don't kick. That also enabled us to put our previous 2017 championship in a baseball stadium, the Rockland Boulders in New York.
Wow.
Because they were TV ready, we had that championship.
How many people watched that game? How many people
came?
How many people came to that game? How many people came to that game?
It not only was national, but it was international. Although I don't have the metrics because the channel's not rated. It's 11 Sports Network. They're new. They just took over One World Sports. The billionaire owns them. I mean, they're the real deal.
You can't manage what you can't measure. But how many people came to the game was my question then.
I'd say a couple of hundred. Not a lot because we're not resourced and staffed and even budgeted really to be able to promote it like that. You are in the
grassroots. But, my whole thing is I think that we need a reset in this country with sports. I think this country's ready for a reset. I think that's tired of some of the sports that have just gone over the limit. And I'll give it to you really clear. I think people are tired of the NFL. They're tired of the injuries. They're tired of all that. And I think they don't want – I know nobody I know wants their kid to play, tackle football with equipment. I think the NBA – people are getting tired of, just having a few teams and all the other teams that are not good. They're tired of all the shenanigans going on in the NCAA with all the cheating and slime and everything going on there. There's a media fix that's needed there. I'm not sure who really cares about the hockey thing, although I do. I love the hockey, but I don't know if anybody else besides who's into it and watching care. It's not a growing sport by any stretch. I mean, so I think this country is ready for a reset to get more into soccer. Possibly lacrosse comes in. Women's sports, volleyball, softball, hot. People are watching. People are going. And this could slip in. I think this could slip in. I'm making a movement. This needs to not be a sport or a business. This needs to be a movement. This needs to say, leave the equipment home, leave the equipment out, and let's play this sport for what it used to be and what it should be.
That's right.
Am I feeling you? Am I hearing you?
This is a movement. It's a revolution and a movement. You read my mind.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, this is a sport. It's a game. It's real. Played it as a kid. We never played with equipment. We didn't have money for it. And we played 5-on-5, 6-on-6, and we got along just fine. No hospital visits. And I'm still in one piece 48 years later.
You know, our sport's still full contact. We always caveat and disclaimer, this is full contact football. It is dangerous, but you're not going to get the repetitive head-to-head trauma. That's what's being claimed to cause CTE, one of the number one factors.
All right, man. Well, thank you for your call. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Hey, make sure you Facebook message in all your contacts. If anybody's out there likes this idea, wants to participate, sponsor, invest, you got to get your valuation a little bit more straightened out or a little sexier if you want somebody's going to pony up 7 figures. By the way, you ask somebody for 100 or 200 grand, it's one thing, and that's what you see on the Shark Tank. You don't see them quivering because 100 or 200 grand is not a tough pill to swallow if you have a lot of money. But once you start getting over $500,000, you have to have your act together. It's very difficult to ask people to give you $1 million or $1.5 million without some really buttoned-up information, without some really strong upsides and some protection. And 10%.
We're working on it.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't have sales or revenue. But listen, I like your idea. I don't want to beat you down on that idea. But if you really want the $1 million, $1.5 million, it's going to have to be a stronger approach to it, or you're going to have to give up more of the company.
This is a revolution, like you said. We need the partners to believe in us.
It's a movement. It's a movement. I'm with you, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling, and thanks for coming on board. Look forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you,
keep in touch, man. I want to see. I want to see some pictures. I want to see some active. A couple of pictures of this game. These games being played. Some kids or some adults or 18-year-olds all muddy playing. I want to see some PR on this. It's all good.
I'm going to get you everything. I look forward to keeping in touch.
All right. Thanks for your time, man.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Swish, I don't know what happens to me. I get very emotional. I get very sparked up, heated, because this NFL thing is under my skin. I'm not, by the way, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm not standing anymore for all these guys kneeling. I'm done. I've now gone 2 weeks. I did admit I broke down a little bit. I was so bored. I watched like an hour of the Red Channel. The Red Zone, but that's it. I'm cutting down, man. I'm an alcoholic that is now. Well, I'm not an alcoholic, but a sportsaholic. I'm weaning off slowly. I'm asking my wife, please take me to the movies or let's go shopping. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for me, but I'm trying. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't sit there anymore and watch football all day. I can't even watch the college game either because that's another scam. You're reading about it with basketball, which is unbelievable, the amount of what's going on with the college basketball game. So if you think that it all started and stopped with those sanctions and everything, there's got to be a ton more there. But you have you have college football teams paying assistant coaches $1.5 million, and you have Division I teams that can't even pay assistant coaches more than like $50,000. You have coaches going on private planes everywhere, and you have other teams that have nothing. The money needs to get all pooled. In college football, all the money gets pooled. Then let's see Nick Saban and Alabama and all these guys. Let's see how it all measures up. Put all the money in one pot. Decide the top 150 Division I real teams that are committed to playing Division I football. Maybe it's 150 teams. Take all the bowl money. Take all the money you make on a day-to-day. All these TV contracts and all split it up between all 150 of you. Now we got something.
Now we got something.
We got something.
I agree. I like that.
It's bullshit. It drives me crazy. When I see good schools putting good money trying to have a competitive football team, and yet they don't have as many alum or as rich alums that are supporting it. And then it's just insane when I see teams signing coaches for $7-8 million. And then the same division, these kids will never win a championship in because their coaches can't fly around on private jets. They don't have all these cool locker rooms and practice facilities. The whole thing's all messed up. It's like not the way it's supposed to be. I don't know what gets me crazy about this. It has nothing to do with the show. We got to move on. Swish, what's going on? What's your feeling as far as your next move as entrepreneur? What's your next thing when people are out there that are watching? Is it hard to go from one project to the next? Because it seems like you're trying to reset now with a couple of new projects. What's your mindset?
Yeah, so basically right now, like coming into the summer, I was doing a lot of LinkedIn consulting. I was working with Google, American Express. I would be hosting a lot of meetups. I've been trying to host as much as I can and build a community around LinkedIn. And then along with that, like I started doing a lot of work part-time for Trevor on his venture capital firm. It gave me a lot more insights, even past the sale that I made into the basketball space and understanding it. And I've been speaking a lot, like you said. So I think the summer was kind of like a reset period, like you mentioned. I mean, trying to step back and really look at my life holistically, understand where I want to be, who I want to work with, and what I want to do. And what I kind of have come down
You're 20,
to
dude. Aren't you supposed to like go and hang out, pick up girls, and have fun, and go abroad to Europe? And
doing that. But like, hey, the thing is, if I can go abroad to Europe and speak at the same time and make money, why not do that? You know?
What, could you
like,
talk? Could you have talked with my kids who? I mean, God, they had to go on a 6-month abroad, and I don't think they were thinking about how to make money like that. I'm going abroad. I mean, what is that? Going on a 6-month vacation?
They'll all figure it out. I feel like my thing is like everyone figures that stuff out at some point in their life. So I mean, for me, I think I've rushed it a bit for sure. But
is
I'm
it better?
always trying to like live out.
Is it better to rush it a bit though?
I mean, for me, I think so because I have a lot that I want to get done in a short period of time, in my opinion. But if you have, you know, a different ambition than me, or if you have other things you want to accomplish, by all means, there's no one single path to success anymore, especially now more than ever.
Where's the motivation come from? Where's all this focus and motivation come from such an early age?
I like literally just wanted. I don't know, I literally, like, when I was younger, I wanted to be famous. So that was, like, a huge motivation. I wanted to be a Bollywood actor, kid you not. So that was, like, after my dream of becoming Santa, I'm like, all right, I want to be a Bollywood actor. I want the world to know who I am. And I think maybe not the actor part, but surely I want the world to know who I am and what I'm doing. I think that's still stuck with me. So I definitely do have this aspiration of helping as many people, connecting with as many people, and having them, you know, when they speak of Swish, they speak of him in like a good way, and in a way that like, hey, he's actually benefiting the world in some capacity. I think the second is just very much like I just always wanted to be rich. Like growing up, like I always felt when I looked around me that people sometimes like had such incredible goals when they were younger, but just because of society and the way that they had to conform to what other people told them they should do, they started to put limitations on themselves more than having society put limitations on them. I think that's a huge mentality issue that we live in right now, where the self-confidence and the self-esteem of younger people, especially on university campuses, begins to get crippled the minute you enter a university classroom, because you're told that this is how the world is, this is what your place is, and this is what you can do. And there's not a lot of, here's what you can actually aspire to do, and here's what you can actually become if you put in the time, work, and you put in patience. So for me, it's been a lot of like introspection. It's been a lot of reflection on what I want in life. But at the end of the day, I want to move as quickly as possible into the areas that I want to work in, which are now basketball, Bollywood, dance, and space. And I want to get there as quickly so that when I look back, I can really say that I made every single year of my life count.
Well, define rich for me, though. I got to take you back there for a minute. Just get that cleared up, because that was a little confusing. But I can appreciate that you want to make a difference. And you don't want to have wasted space on your resume. You want to make a difference. You want to make an impact. You want to be effective, and I can respect that. But define rich, because you said you always want to be rich. Define rich, because I don't want it to be confusing for people that are listening and watching out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's no quantity to it. I think it's just more feeling of I can do whatever the hell I want, anytime I want, and I don't ever have to worry about money in the bank.
Okay,
that really so there's no real definition, really.
But there is a little bit of a money connotation, because maybe you come from not a lot of money and you want to make sure that you have the things you need. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
that ambition.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, my family, like I come from a well-to-do family, right? Like I come from an upper middle class family. Like my dad makes well for himself, but at the same time, it's like they haven't given me much. Like in the sense of they supported me a lot. But at the end of the day, they've made me work for everything I got in life, which I appreciate and I like.
What it's about.
And so even though I had that support, I didn't have it financially per se.
Ben, we got a couple questions. Wind up.
Let's do it.
Or we're doing another caller.
From Matt about personal customer service, and do you think it's important for you and just other people in your company or just any company to have personal involvement with your customers? What's the importance of that?
It's a great question. Do you think that personalized customer service is important for your company? And that's the question that Matt asked. And I think it's a great question because really at a quandary now where service is becoming a lot more minimal. You can't talk to human beings. Even Amazon, if it had a weakness, we talk about one of the ultimate retailers. You look at Amazon, it's probably that's the weakness. I mean, you're not going to speak to someone. They may take a return. They may try to give you good service, but if you have a problem being customer service, it's not a great place if you're in a quandary about something you bought that you didn't like, blah, blah, blah. We're still stuck on service here at Steiner. We don't have a service department at Steiner. We have a service company. Everyone is in customer service at Steiner. And we really try to make an effort to personalize and customize it. We're a smaller, niche company. We want it to be personal. We want to touch our customers. We want to talk to them as much as they want to be talked to. We are living in an age where a lot of people don't want to talk. They want to get on the computer. They want to put their problem into them and send it out and then have somebody appear at the door, take it back. So you got to respect the balance of all this. I don't think it's an easy answer. I mean, everybody wants to be customer service driven, but have a problem with an airline, try talking to someone about your problem. You got a better chance. Well, there's just no chance. I'm not even going to go there with a better. There's just no chance. And you're seeing more and more companies following that and not as worried because they feel that the younger generations are not brand loyal. They're moving to the best deal because they can get the best deal with a couple clicks and a pick. I don't believe in that. I believe in staying by your brand. I believe in killing people with kindness, giving people the benefit of the doubt, and sticking by them when they're complaining and bitching, even if it's a little bit borderline complaint, which most complaints aren't, because if people take the time to complain, more than likely there's something bothering them and you can get to the core of the matter. And more than taking a chance of losing that customer, I'd rather kill them with kindness and not only take the customer I'm about to lose, but and turn them into your biggest fan. So I'm a fan of customer service, but I understand why a lot of companies aren't. There's a big cost to it, and there's also a pushback on the customer end where they don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to be able to put some information into a computer and then have everything taken care of. All right, we're going to deal with one more call. We'll get Swish back on the phone. Feeling amped up on a Wednesday. No question. We got Michael from Caliware. Michael from Caliware. Swish, you back?
Yep. How are you?
Michael, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well. Nice Wednesday afternoon, and I want to hear your story. Tell me a little bit about your company and where you're at.
All right. So, me and my friend who started the company last year in my senior year of high school, we were located out of Long Island, and we just wanted to start spreading the lifestyle, like surfing, skateboarding, because that's what we did every day after school. So we drew up a logo, slapped it on a shirt, and just started selling.
How old are you?
I'm 18 right now.
That's what I'm talking about, Michael. You're not sitting there wasting time. You're making some stuff happen. Good for you.
Yeah, I got no time to waste.
So, you have a website that we can kind of go give it a quick look at if somebody's listening, watching, if they can get a feel?
It's www.caliwareclothingcode.com.
Cool. How'd you hear about this show, by the way? I'm just curious. Like, how do you come as an 18-year-old come about this show? How'd you hear about it?
One of my friends actually watches it, so he just sent it to me. He's like, you should get on the show.
So you're not watching it, but you figure you'd front run on based on a suggestion of your friend. Nah, I'm just busting you. I'm busting you. Hopefully you're watching going forward. Nah, I'm just busting you. But anyway, so have you made sales? I mean, are you up and running, or are you just still in the conceptual phase?
Yeah, we're up and running. We're making sales.
Cool. Explain how that works. Like you're in your garage shipping out. Like you have an inventory, or somebody's distributing this
right
for
now,
you. Yeah.
We don't have a lot of inventory right now, so we use an online printing site that just prints out on the order and then sends it out to them. But we have some inventory inside my room. My mom keeps telling me to get it out of my room, but it's not going anywhere right now.
Why be different than any other 18-year-old and start listening to your mom anyway? I mean, that would be like that. Right? Who's going to listen to her mom? But I see you got a lot of hats and T-shirts on your site. It's mostly hats and T-shirts.
Yep.
Cool. How many hats and T-shirts have you sold this year so far?
T-shirts, I'd say sold almost 500. Hats, we're not looking too good. We haven't sold any really.
Okay.
Dude, I'll buy one.
That's what I'm talking about, Swish. Guest participation. So Swish is going to put an order in today. You know something? I can't have Swish order one and not me or not order one. Ben, we got to order two of those hats, because if Swish order one, I got to order two. So, and order me a T-shirt too. I'm ordering a T-shirt also. Do you have any gray T-shirts? You know, I have a little bit of a OCD issue. I only wear gray
but-
T-shirts. Do you have any gray?
Gray? No, we did not.
All right.
There's gray sweatshirts though.
All right. I'll buy. You know something? Buy the gray sweatshirt there, Ben. Yeah. All right. We'll buy the gray sweatshirt. You know, I don't. It's a whole other story for another show. Anyway, Swish, what do you think of this idea?
I love it. I mean, here's the question I have. Every fashion or every sort of product, like service that, offers clothes, I just want to know, like, what is the unique cultural identity of this business compared to any other clothing retailer?
What was that? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Like, what is the unique identity of your company compared to other clothing retailers?
I feel like we just have a nice story behind us, and we're not selling clothes, we're selling a lifestyle.
Cool. And what is, like, the price of that? Like, who did it mainly attract?
Attracts, like, teenagers. I'd say the age is, like, just most of our customers are, like, going into high school and mid-20s.
Cool. And how are you reaching them?
We're reaching them through Instagram, basically all ends of social media.
Are you using LinkedIn right now?
Are you only selling on your website or selling anywhere else?
We're just selling on our website right now, but all the social media will bring you to the website.
Okay.
Are you using LinkedIn?
No.
You got to use LinkedIn. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know if there's, like, show notes or anything to this, but if you message me right after you get off the call, I want to help you build out your LinkedIn strategy for this, because I've done it similarly for another clothing company called East Coast Lifestyle, and I think you could really benefit from it. Like, they've seen incredible traction with that.
That's very nice of you, Swish. By the way, if you're watching this show and you don't immediately try to get LinkedIn to Swish and get some kind of rapport going with him, you're out of your mind, because he is a guru. But this is a tremendous opportunity, because your product's perfect for social media. But I think a lot of times people misunderstand the LinkedIn Swish, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of
100%.
it's not the quick, like you get in Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, where you get the instant gratification, but you get the much bigger bang on the LinkedIn. You may find a store that maybe wants to carry your stuff, or you may find another website that has a much bigger platform that maybe you can partner up with, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah. Right? Because that's what I look at. It's like, again, what the focus are you talking about? It's like, at the end of the day, know who your customer is. That's what I would immediately say, Michael, is like, get clear about who your customer is. And you've sold 500 of these, so do a quick little survey and get a little bit of data information so you're really clear about who your customer is and how they feel about your product. And then go find the best and the coolest platform that maybe you want to partner up with, being that it's going to take a while to build up your own, and maybe you don't want to have your stuff all over the place. Maybe you want to control it. But if you can find one platform that really matched your demographic that you can partner up with to give you a little scale, give you a little bit of a push, just for you to have a little swag and say, hey, Mama Jamma, I'm in Nordstrom's, or I'm in this one slick shop, whether it's what's the name of that God, I go to every mall. I'm thinking of it. I can't think of that mall. There's a chain of stores that really are geared towards teenagers, whether it's Abercrombie or whether it's one of those kinds of stores. Like, I think there's a swagger when you can go partner up, and that's the P word that I keep talking about. It's partnership, and partnership should increase the size of the roof over your head and increase the size of your brand, increase your power. It should give you that extra swagger. Hey, do you know where I am? Yeah. Right? So it's like, and I don't think you're going to make a big play on that. It doesn't have to be the biggest brand, but it needs to be a really good brand that matches up to your profile of your customer.
Yeah. And Michael, here's the thing too. Like, I think what Brandon's saying is really important, but it's also part of a bigger picture, right? Which is any clothing lifestyle brand, the way that they attract people to wear their product is by making them feel cool. That's pretty much it. Like, every teenager wants to wear things that make them feel cool. So at the end of the day, there's 4 ways I think about doing that. One is find cool people to wear your crap. Like, literally go to some of these micro influencers, not even the people who have millions of followers, but the people who have like 10, 20, 30,000 followers on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. Give them a free shirt and tell them to wear it. Everybody likes free stuff. So if you give a micro influencer some sort of shirt or some sort of hat and make them wear it, their following will start to understand what that brand is all about. The second thing is find cool events, right? Like if you're not a college student yet, like college events are the best place to promote products like this, because at a college event you could do a giveaway for like 20 of them. And the minute that some people, and especially if it's a really, really cool product, which I like your product, I genuinely think people always have this like idea of FOMO, right? Like they have a fear of missing out, and they don't want to be able to go about their day or go about their week or their month without having something that they think somebody else had, which is cool.
Swish, like the like the Generation Z Summit they do once a year in the city with 700 kids.
Yeah.
You know, let's hook them up with Generation Z Summit. That's all a bunch of influencers. That's going to kill both. I just think I had to interrupt you because that gets you the influencers and gets you to a young audience and a lot of them. And you go give away a bunch of those. Like, that's the perfect thing. And then also, just if you have cool friends, you know, take pictures of your coolest friends that match up to your profile as well and put those on your website, because your website's looking a little bit vanilla to me. It looks a little boring. A little bit. I mean, you know, right? I mean, don't you think it should be... It just means no, Ben. Is that right? Ben?
Yeah, it needs to be
I think
updated
it needs to be a bit more exciting. Yeah, it needs to be a bit more exciting. You need to have that the exact thing you told me about you're selling a lifestyle. I don't see that right now on your website. I still feel like you're selling me a product. So I need to see the people who are wearing it, the bigger impact they're making, right? Like one of the coolest thing I think you could do is profile the people who wear your shirt, right? You've already sold 500 shirts. Go to at least 50 of them and ask them if you can interview them. Put their story out there so people know who the consumer is. And every time they go and do something incredible and they're wearing the shirt, or even if they aren't wearing the shirt but they do something incredible, you're showing a sense of community, that when you buy the shirt, you enter a community. It's not just buying a product from someone and moving on.
Love that. That's great advice. That's great advice. You had one more idea, or that was it? That was a three-strong one, Swish. That was strong.
Like have a spin-off benefit. Right? Like maybe you donate 15% or 10% of the money that you make per year to this really good cause that you believe in. So sometimes having a good spin-off benefit can also just help you in terms of garnering press and meeting people and really finding really cool partners.
Because marketing now is huge. You know, people want to feel like the companies they're buying from are doing some good in the world, and the money they're spending is going towards some good. I mean, it's not a thing. It's real. I mean, people feel strongly when they see companies involved in the community, and it's not. I'm talking real stuff. They know the companies that are digging in and supporting all different kinds of charities and events. And even though you're young, you can do that on a small scale, even at this point, just to dabble with it and see how that feels. More importantly, you can at least showcase that on your website. But, you know, this is a fascinating business because there's great margins in T-shirts. And obviously, I'm assuming, Michael, you got a nice designer with you to keep going and keep playing around with some of these designs for your shirts, right? So that's fun. I mean, but, you know, the one thing I don't get from your site that I'd love to see more of is fun, energy. And that's kind of a little bit what Swish was saying, if I was going to add one thing, because those are really solid, nice nuggets, snackable nuggets for you to go grab onto and do without having to go rob a bank to go afford to do it. Everything we just gave you is really easy to do, but you've got to get some fun going. I need to feel more fun on that website, because ultimately you're going to bust your ass through everything that Swish just told you and all your social media. It still drives people to your website, and it's got to be more vibrant. It's got to be more cool. It's got to be more happening.
All right.
You're off to a good start, my man. I'm going to order some T-shirts. Keep in touch.
Yeah.
Love the energy. Love the fact that you're out there doing something, and you're off to a good start. You know, something you can find one partner, maybe in the Roosevelt Field Mall, maybe one of those stores that want to carry your products. You have a little swagger, and you can showcase your product. That would be nice to have a place to be able to do that and learn what that's like, how that feels to have to go sell to a retail store on a wholesale level, and learn that part of the business, see if that's a direction for you. So I got a great question the other day. Someone said, do you prefer retail or direct-to-consumer, or do you prefer B2B wholesale? And I said, you really have, every product's a little different. There are a lot, you can't underestimate finding a distributor or finding a wholesaler or a retail store and having them sell your product for you. There's a lot of advantages to that, and there's a lot of work to that. And a lot of people are misunderstood. They think that selling to consumer, you make a lot more money. there's a lot of work, customer service, you're shipping, packing on a more individual basis. You're probably dealing with the sales tax, all the little things you have to deal with when you're selling directly to consumer, not to mention maintaining your website, keyword searches, social media to support all that, as opposed to just supporting the wholesale account that you're selling to and making sure you get your product and your focus is getting your product right. Because when you sell wholesale, you're counting on the retailer of doing a lot of that work, and you're focused on putting the best quality product you can together. It's a great debate. It's a great dilemma to be in, and I'd love to see it dabble with the wholesale aspect of it. You don't have to dig into it, but dabble with it. See how that feels, especially your age. Understand how that game gets played a little bit. It'd be a great experience for you.
All right, sounds good.
Appreciate your time, man. Thanks for joining. Keep in touch. Want to hear how this group is doing. Definitely come back to me as your sales grow. Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you for having me on.
All right, Swish. Final thoughts as we're gonna take two. We'll take two quick questions up, Ben, and then we'll call it a day. If you have some questions out there, of an entrepreneur. First of all, like and share this. But if you have a friend that has a sales idea, entrepreneurial idea, want to get something started, you're stuck, looking for an investment, looking for some direction. Facebook us, LinkedIn us, send a message in. We'll call you. We'll get you on the show, and we'll try to link you in and hook you up with some really people that can help you.
Here's a question from Dylan. He says, what drives you and what makes you get up every day and have a great day?
Swish?
Yeah, I kind of answered this before. I think the huge thing that drives me is just, I kind of fear an opposite world where I'm not motivated. I think it's really, really scary to think of a world where you don't want to go after things that you dreamt of doing years ago, or you just don't want to go after things that you really deep down inside you want to do. So that world scares the crap out of me. It makes me want to move far away from it. And at the same time, I think, I think people need to be reasonable, right? Like, understand that not every day, like, even for me, I don't know about you, Brandon, but for me, like, not every day is like an incredible day where I'm going and like meeting great people or doing great things. Sometimes it's really boring crap in the office. Sometimes it's really boring crap at home where I'm just, signing paperwork and issuing contracts and doing a lot of calls. But at the end of the day, if you really genuinely love what you're doing and the overarching message and the vision of what you're trying to accomplish, you'll continue working at it.
Well, here's what I would say, and I'm right with you along that. Is first of all, if you're doing your own thing and you can't get up every day and be motivated, and you're in control of your own thing, following your own mission, something's really wrong with you. And the second thing is there are very few happy days when you're an entrepreneur because, to me, for me anyway, I have to go into a very deep level, very often of misery. I have to get into a deep, dark place to figure out what's wrong, what's missing. I'm creating a whole bunch of combustible, confusion, chaotic craziness, and then I'm going to go bust my ass to put that in some kind of order because it's going to solve something in the world or solve something in the industry or business that I'm in. And it's not comfortable, and it's not a happy place. There's no happy meal waiting for me on most days for lunch. But it's what drives me. I don't mind getting into that place. I don't like staying there for too long, but it's not a really cool, comfortable, cozy place, which is what probably pushes a lot of entrepreneurs or people from running businesses for any length of time away. But if you have the tolerance for getting into those deep, dark places, then entrepreneurism and this show is a great watch to figure out how to get there. But it's not anything rosy, cozy, comfortable, cuddly. You may find some of that from time to time but over a period of time, there is a mixture of some really, really ups, downs, and a roller coaster ride. And that's got to drive you. You got to have fun with that. You got to enjoy going to that place. And sometimes that place is painful and hurtful and confusing. But you got to find a comfort level in that, knowing that you're going to work your way out, knowing you're going to figure it out, and knowing you're going to get there because you have the mindset of a champion, yet you're an underdog. You know nobody thinks you could do it. And your soul is a favorite. It tells you, it reminds you that you are good, you are worth it, and this idea is worth it, even though no matter everybody out there telling you can't. That was probably a little bit of a long answer than you wanted, but I get a little hyped up when people ask me about that sort of thing because I think that a lot of people will ask me, if they think that they're working so they can retire. If you make a lot of money, now you can retire. And I think you make a lot of money so you can make some choices. Certainly not giving the money back, but I think you make a lot of money so you can make more money and you can do more good and you can help more people and you can do more interesting things because you have the latitude to do so, not to go hang out on a beach and chill out. And I think sometimes people get confused. I get inspired in the morning because I want to wake up. I want to do more. I want to go shake up and break up the world and do some things that haven't been done in my small little industry, which is exactly what it is. We'll take one more, Ben.
This last one's from
I love
Roman.
that.
He's asking, like, what strategies are you taking to push sales in this ever-changing digital environment?
That's from who?
You're taking advantage of. His name's Roman.
Roman's asking, what strategies do you put into place to drive sales in such a confusing environment? That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it depends on the business, of course, but just for me, for example, like the current thing I'm doing with Elliot on Dunk and building out the media network and also working on potentially doing a consulting agency for basketball players, the key thing really is, really trying to have a good foundation, right? Like what you said, Brandon, about having a really good website, a clean-looking profile, it all starts with that when you get an inbound message, you're more likely to increase the probability of somebody converting and messaging you, getting on a call with you, and then actually giving you a contract. The second thing I think is having a very clear marketing strategy. Like, where do you honestly think your consumer is at? Like, I think everyone's just like, yeah, my consumer's on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. It's everywhere, right? But if you pinpoint as specific as you can your target demographic by socio-income, by where they are, by what they're interested in, by what pages they follow even, you're more likely to achieve success if you concentrate your efforts on 1 to 2 platforms as opposed to trying to become a master at all of them.
For me, I feel like, first of all, I think that's spot on. I mean, you do have to pick your poison. And in this day and age, it is very difficult because there is a very big part of it is, you're right, Switch, you got to know your customer. Because if you're dealing with an older crowd, your baby boomer generation, you had better have some TV, radio, and some old traditional means of media. And it's, like I said, guys like me are still watching the 11 o'clock news. Why? I have no idea. Stupid. We're still buying a newspaper and having it delivered on a Sunday. Stupid. But, if you're dealing with a little bit of a younger audience, they have no tolerance for that. And they may not even have a TV. They may not even be listening to the radio anymore. So it's very confusing. But for me, it's about how I can make an emotional connection with my customer. And if there's a vehicle for me to do so, I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm putting all my energy from a company to making personal connections with our customers. We want it to be personal. We think our customers, the stuff that they're buying and experiencing with us at Steiner is personal, and we're going to make it personal regardless of the other stuff going on around us. So whether it's Twitter, whether it be Instagram or TV or radio or just traditional PR, if it's not personal, we're probably staying away from it. The only last thing that I need to go and change is our email system. I haven't figured out a way to get more personal, more emotional, and hands-on with our emails that are going out. But everything else that goes out from Steiner is personal. Handwritten notes, thank you letters, notes in the boxes that get shipped, extra stuff when we deliver appearances for corporations, all that sort of thing. So it's a complicated it's complicated out there. It's a great question that we end up this show on because there really isn't an answer to it. And CEOs and CMOs are getting fired and scratching their heads over this question because they're guessing and they're not able to get their arms around it. For me, I'm just making sure that we continue to build our brand and get personal. Swish, man, you're the best. Enjoyed having you on, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
People want to get a hold of you. Best way is on LinkedIn, I assume.
Yep, LinkedIn, and then at GoSwish, GOSWISH on Instagram, Twitter. And I respond to everything like you said, so I do encourage everybody listening to reach out and ask something.
I just want to thank you, man. You've been a great help to me. And, my wife is always scratching her head like, what's that 20-year-old? What are these 18-year-old kids doing at the house? I said, I'm back at school, honey. I'm back at school. Like, you've been one of my great teachers, so thank you. Thanks for joining, and thanks for sharing. And I love having you on the show. For all of you out there, please come back tomorrow. I'm playing ping pong with Christoph Porzingis. I'm going to kick his ass. Please don't tell him. Let's just keep that between us. No, I'm going to kick his ass. Although I am a little nervous because he is a little big, and his arm, that reach, could be a little detrimental. We got Don Mattingly tomorrow in a live Q&A at 7 o'clock. And then we're back next week with unbelievable, some great shows. Watch Facebook for those listings. If you like this show, like and share it. And please message us if you have somebody that's a great entrepreneur or a great salesperson who has a new business idea, and hopefully we can get them on the show. Swish, you're the best, and all of you, thanks for joining us. By the way, how great did the Mural Kings do? Huh? These Mural Kings did a great job. Swish, wait till you see our new set. They crushed it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love you guys. See you guys next time.